As far as I know, AI is not going to replace human, but the thing is we can't deny the existing of AI. And when I talk about AI, it's basically the AI based tools. If I'm the owner of any business, I would definitely prefer a resource which knows those AI tools, and I will definitely recommend and hire those resources. Think about from this perspective. As soon as you realize and thinking from this angle, you will start realizing the importance of AI and AI tools. So today we are going to talk about the famous tool which is none other than Chat GPT. So this is a new prompt I have opened, and if you have already running prompt, you can click on this new chat icon and you will have a brand new prompt available to start from scratch. We'll be discussing other tools as well like blackbox.ai, but firstly we will be exploring Chat GPT because it's more general purpose AI tool, but we can still use that for our software development tasks. How? This is an interesting part, and that's where I want to share today, and I want to demonstrate how these tools can be used to accomplish a complex task in software development domain. And with this example, you can use it with any other domain as your need, as per your requirement. Let's start with a very basic thing, which is, can you give me first 5 questions for .NET? And as soon as we type something like that and we get the response, we get happy, and that's all. This is not the case. How? Let me demonstrate you and use this example to think from a different angle. Like, we are building some system and we need some data for that to fill into that database. Let's assume some questions regarding .NET so that we can read those when we need, but we want in a specific format like an SQL script. How we could generate an SQL script for our database to run and save all that data into some database. So let's do that with ChatGPT here. I will next ask, can you give me those in the form of SQL script? And now it start giving us all those questions in a form of SQL script. Pretty good, huh? So if we see the table name, I don't like that. I want that table name to be something like questions. So I will ask ChatGPT, please update the table name to questions, and it will rewrite all that response according to the new table name. So we have now create table command where we are creating questions table with an ID, question, answer, and we are next preparing data in the form of SQL script. Now think about this script and see, can't we generate that such data for any topic, anything, any non-software related topics like history of Pakistan or history of USA, common questions, anything like that. We just need to ask ChatGPT something and we can alter its form. As we can see, we have now those questions answered in the form of an SQL script. So regarding the validity of this script, let's try to run this script against our database. For the database, I will be creating a query. Yeah, so that is BlockDB, a standard example we normally implement with ASP.NET MVC. But for now, let's use the same schema and run that query to see the results. So we are running and we have now table created. Great. Let's try to run that script and see the results. 5 rows affected. And now in the very next call, we will be doing like static from questions. I'm sure that was the name of our table. Awesome. Now we have that data in the form of table inside our database. So within few minutes, we actually generated few questions and we transformed that data into the database table. Awesome. Now that prompt is ready, right? So next thing we need to do is we just need to provide that prompt, the topic, and how many questions we want to generate. So previously we have added that query and let's reuse that one again. Can you give me next 5, not 5, let's change this to, let's say, 15 question for .NET in same script format, and it will give us 15 questions in the same format. Awesome. So we have learned the Chat GPT is not only the tool which provide us or gives us answers to our queries, but we can certainly transform its response to our required type. Like as we did here, we transform that question answers. We transform those question answer into an SQL script, and that is pretty much valid as we just execute that script against our database table. Now, next 15 questions are being generated. So as soon as those get generated, we will be executing those against our same table, and we will then check the count how many records now we have in our database table. And regarding the quality of the data, we can certainly see that if you are in the same software development field, you can see and realize the validity of those questions, like what is .NET and what are its main components. And the answer we are having, .NET is a software developed. .NET is a software framework developed by Microsoft that provides a controlled programming environment wherein software can develop, install, and execute it primarily on Windows-based operating systems. Right, so that's how it's giving us the answers to our valid questions. So let's try to execute same script again against our DB table. Now we have 25 questions in our database table. Awesome. What about if we want to tweak that response in a way that we want that response against, let's say JavaScript? Can you give me top 5 Java questions? Let's modify that query in a way like JavaScript interview questions. And a twist here is we want to now add the ability to differentiate those questions, like something like a column, a type column, a language column, and alter the table to add another column with name, language, and give that the value. Let's assume that is a enum somewhere in the code, and we are just putting some numbers in that column. And let's say the JavaScript, because that is a second language we are talking about, and let's give it a number 2. So now it's intelligent enough that it's firstly give us the query to alter our table to adjust a new column inside that table. So as soon as it's generating, and we can see that at the end it's now putting 2 as a second, as a not second, as a third value in the script in each line. But let's start executing this alter command first. So now what are we doing? We are altering question to add a new column language of type int, and we are setting its value to 1. And again, it's intelligent enough that assuming that 1 represents .NET question, because those were already added in the table. So let's run this. 25 are now executed, and if we see now, all those are assigned a language 1. And now let's try to add those new records with that script, and we have now next 5 in the table as well. So first 25 have the language 1, and the last 5 have the language 2, because those are related to JavaScript. And this is how we can generate actual data for any system. And this is specifically the questions answer system where we are exploring. And the idea came in my mind like when I was preparing for Cypress, a framework that can be used to implement your tests and execute them in the pipeline or your local system. And I tried, why not I just first check with ChatGPT if it can give me a list of questions so that I get the understanding what is Cypress. Basically, I was implementing or updating the existing test suite. So the idea came in my mind that we can do that with ChatGPT very easily. And then further, I tried to transform those questions in some Excel format and SQL format, and it was pretty much easy to transform those. We just need conversation with Chat GPT, and this is how, as we did, we can use Chat GPT to generate data for us. And of course, you should be expert of that domain just to double check, as Chat GPT also says that Chat GPT can make mistakes. Check important info. So you can go through those questions and read and double check and verify those are valid. But this is how we can use ChatGPT to generate some data for our requirements. Awesome. And this is a prompt which you can just now use for any type of question answer. Just you need to specify the term or technology you want the questions against, and it will give you the required set of questions with answers. And believe me, this is a very simple scenario where we have some set of columns. We can add as many columns as we want, and we can embed business logic inside that script as well, in a way that, let's say we want a system for MCQs and we want to put all those answers against the same column. But and then that is a task for you guys as well. Let's enhance that script in a way that you have four possible answers and one of those will be correct, and you have to maintain all those answers in the same column, like answers column. And the hint is, you can, let's say, spread those answers with some character which we don't use normally in the text, and with the correct option you can further use some special character to identify the correct answers. In this way you will be having single column capturing all those answer details, and on the front end where you will be using that data, you can manipulate that column and show those answers with the correct one highlighted. Give it a try, and in some video I will demonstrate how we can do that. So that was all for this video. I hope that video is useful. In the case of any questions or query, to ask me in the comments, and see you in the next one.